For eons I have scoured the cosmos themselves in order to find an opponent who would provide me with worthy sport and allow me an opportunity to flex my skills. Hello there everyone, welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. I know I missed the upload for Tuesday, I apologize for that, just wasn't in the cards with everything going on. But today we are going to resume our look at the first edition Pathfinder Wizard, today taking a look at their skills. Normally I try to lump in the class abilities and stuff, but while the wizard doesn't have a whole host and complete suite of class abilities, what they do have involves a significant amount of text, reading, and a bit to go over there, so we're gonna break things up just a little bit. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on just such an incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. But now, let's get into your skill selection and what you're really going to want to focus on as far as being a wizard goes. Now, for skills, you're going to start off with the appraise skill. Now, it does work off of your intelligence, but this is for assessing the value of items. This is pretty comfortable to skip. Just bear in mind, you get 2 skill ranks per level plus your intelligence modifier, and while you do have a respectable intelligence modifier, a great one even, you still want to focus your skill points on those skills that are going to be of most value to you. Next, we have the fly skill, working from dex, which isn't too bad. You're probably going to want to put at least 1 rank into it, but you're going to have spells that will give you bonuses, usually something like 1 rank for every 2 caster levels you have. So overall, something that you can get away with just having 1 rank in, because bear in mind, because it's a class skill, you get that +3 miscellaneous modifier kicking in on top of it. So 1 rank +3, and then your dex modifier of about 2, so you're looking at a +6 bonus overall to your fly checks. That's going to hold you over pretty well for a lot of the game. Then we come to all the knowledge skills that you are going to have access to, starting off with Knowledge Arcana. Also working off of intelligence, this allows you to identify magic beasts, dragons, constructs, ancient mysteries, and arcane symbols. Absolutely going to be used in a majority of campaigns, in probably 99% of campaigns, so definitely want to have this reliably maxed out. Then we come down to Knowledge Dungeoneering. This allows you to identify aberrations, oozes, also used for caverns and spelunking, so you'll have knowledge of all the different geological features that might crop up down there. Definitely a very useful one. Then we come around to Knowledge Engineering. This is used for buildings, bridges, etc., things like that, and also technological objects. So in campaigns and games that involve more advanced technology, this is definitely going to be much more useful. In most games, though, you're probably going to be pretty comfortable skipping this overall, but there are instances where knowing what infrastructural weaknesses there might be, structural weaknesses might be present in buildings and the like, so the engineering skill can be useful, can help you target certain spells a bit better to cause a great deal more damage, but that also depends on your DM working on you, so just kind of play it by ear and see what your DM says, check with them first, but probably more often than not you can skip engineering. Knowledge Geography, also working from intelligence, covers astronomy, lands, terrain, climate, and peoples of those lands. In games that I run, this tends to be relatively important. In other games, maybe 1 rank is going to be more than sufficient more often than not, but still, again, play it by ear, see what your DM has to say. Then we come down to Knowledge History, definitely one that I make an incredible amount of use of, but not every DM does that. This is one that you can probably skip. This covers stuff like city foundings, major events, wars, stuff like that. That's going to be more backdrop, background information, probably not going to be relevant more often than not, and is probably going to be covered by things like knowledge arcana, since that covers specifically ancient mysteries. Then we have knowledge local. This covers local laws, customs, legends, different kinds of humanoids. So this one, maybe not every level, but definitely throw the occasional rank into it to keep this one pumped up to a very comfortable place for you to make use of. Now, then we have knowledge nature. This covers fae, animals, monstrous humanoids, vermin, plants, weather patterns. Again, kind of varies a little bit. Knowledge arcana is probably going to be more than enough, but if you are in a campaign that features fae creatures, then this is definitely going to be something that you want to have maxed out. Moving on from there, we have knowledge nobility. This allows you to know about the different kinds of royalty, their heraldry, personalities, the bloodlines, etc., things like that. And it could potentially feed into knowledge history pretty well. There is some overlap there, but knowledge nobility is probably going to come up at least a little bit more often than history will, since it's definitely more of a relevant here and now kind of knowledge. But then we have knowledge planes, and this one's definitely useful. This is knowing all the planes, their magical traits, the outsiders that might inhabit those realms. Definitely going to be relevant, particularly at mid to late game stages of things. So definitely one that you want to have maxed out, much like knowledge religion. This is covering different religious customs, deities, and holy symbols, things like that. And also this covers identifying undead creatures as well. And undead do crop up pretty frequently, and deific figures are definitely present in most games, so having knowledge of those various different things is definitely going to be useful. And bear in mind that this is also what's going to help you do a significant amount of research. So again, because you have access to all of the knowledge skills, you might be tempted to really try to spread the skill points around, and you certainly have enough skill points to work with it, but you don't want to go too thin on it. So check with your DM, see what they're willing to lay out for you as hints or clues, or even if they're just outright going to tell you, hey, knowledge history is actually going to be pretty relevant this game, so you can reasonably be expected to allocate your skill points accordingly. So it's just something to bear in mind there. And also that's advice for DMs as well too. Don't let your players hamstring themselves so readily. Definitely be willing to at least give them a little bit of advice or insight. It's not going to be enough to give the whole game away, but enough that they feel like, okay, I'm at least making good rolls on skills that I have good investment in. Next, we have the linguistics skill. This allows you to learn languages and create or detect forgeries. You're going to let the bard or the rogue do this. Yes, you have the intelligence for it, but again, you have enough knowledge skills that you're probably going to want to focus those down a fair bit more than you would everything else. Next, we have spellcraft. This one is definitely essential because this lets you learn spells from spellbooks or scrolls, identify spells that are being cast, craft magic items, or identify magic item properties. This is one that you absolutely will need as a must-have. This has to be maxed out at every turn. You're a wizard. You absolutely need to have this topped off all the way. There's no getting around it. It is an incredibly useful skill. Now, as far as anything else from there, well, it just depends on your build, your party composition, and what exactly you have in mind as far as your character goes. Certainly a useful skill to invest into would be perception. Definitely never hurts to have yourself or the rest of the party able to be alert, but you do have a familiar that can help you out with that, help you out with perception checks. So if you want to take on a familiar that can give you a bonus to your perception skill, that can help round things out. Not only that, but your familiar can also make perception checks as well, and since they can communicate with you, they can help to alert you and the rest of the party. So you do have options, you do have some flexibility there. And bear in mind, again, if you're following this build and you've dumped your stat increase into intelligence, then you're looking at a 20 intelligence right off the bat. So that's 7 skill ranks, and that gives you quite a bit more flexibility than you might otherwise have, and you can do more to top off more of those skills. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? Let me know your thoughts either way in the comments down below, and be sure to hit those like or dislike buttons, and we can engage in discussion down below. And also, if you haven't done so already, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, even though this was a shorter one. You all have yourselves a good night.